ready to do another Q&A. We have some great questions today. We're excited to dive in. First, I just wanted to remind you of a few things. First is our hashtag IEW Life campaign that we're running. So anytime you post a picture of you or your kids or maybe even your dog watching some Andrew Pudewa or doing one of our curriculums, be sure to use that hashtag IEW Life on there. And when you do have a post on that hashtag, you will be automatically entered to win a $100 IEW gift certificate.
Hashtag IEW Life.
Yes, hashtag IEW.
I'll use that. Maybe I can win.
Yeah. All right, and then the second thing I wanted to remind you of is our IEW writing contest. The deadline for that is April 30th, and first prize winner is $100 for the student and a $100 IEW gift certificate for the parent or teacher. Second prize is $50 for the student, $50 gift certificate for parent or teacher, and third prize is $25 for student and $25 gift certificate for parent or teacher. And the deadline for submitting those essays is April 30th.
And that's prizes, and there's 3 categories.
Yes, there's level A, level B, and level C.
Yeah.
They're all the same prompt, and you can find all the information about that at IEW.com/writing-contest-2022. I tried to find a shorter link, but I couldn't, so I will put that in the comments after this is finished. Alrighty, so we can jump right into the questions. Oh, and every participant will receive a gift code for a free Play It Right card game, and you only have to pay for shipping. So
Play It Right?
Yes, that's our card game.
I don't even know what that is.
You'll have to look it up sometime.
I will. Maybe I'll have to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me join here so I can take a look at what's going on. Alrighty, so we can go ahead and jump right into the questions.
And if people have questions right now,
please
they can ask.
Drop them right now, and we're watching. I'm watching on my phone, so I can see all your questions that come in. We'll make sure to answer those as well. All right, first question is from @Elaine Planting Peas. This is probably the most interesting question we've gotten in a while. She says, I recently discovered that the new advances in technology means that artificial intelligence can write for you. I think about the obsolation, did I pronounce that?
I think
Obsolation
yeah.
of physical dictionaries in favor of digital ones, or the obsolation of the phone conversations in growing favor of texting. Can you look into the Andrew Pudewa crystal ball and share with us your thoughts on the future of human writing, especially if we look at AI writing as a disruptive technology?
Well, I'm on the old side, and when I was your age, we all expected that we would have flying cars by 2020.
Yes.
And so we don't, and there have been many ways in which technology has kind of promised something and it didn't happen according to the schedule that we imagined from the cartoons of childhood and futurism and things. So I'm always a little bit skeptical about things that replace humans. And there's kind of always been this Luddite fear that, oh no, a new technology, a new machine is going to put people out of work, but that's not true. If we look at the history of technology, the technology has actually created more jobs and more opportunity. In terms of AI writing, I do think that it's very much in its infancy. I know I've seen some humorous memes of they took a set of speeches from somebody and said, okay, AI, write a speech like this guy would give. And they're just hilariously ridiculous. We know, in our business, we have technology for all sorts of things. And it's foolish to send that out without having a human look at it. And I think we've all had experiences of interacting with a computer that is not human and does not have a capacity to adapt to our particular circumstance. So I don't know that AI writing will either replace the need for real writing or to some degree allow everyone to be more efficient. You know, I think about just the simplest things I use every day right now, like Quicken or QuickBooks. It would have taken a full-time job to do all of that work that I can now do in just minutes a day. So I love that. Did it reduce my need to pay someone to do all that? No, it actually frees me up to do more and to get more creative people doing more creative things. So I suspect that there will always be a need for good, you know, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking. And of course there are some people with better crystal balls about AI and the potential and where I just listened to a podcast with Elon Musk about AI.
He's kind of an expert.
Yeah, and you know, there are limits, there's capacities. There's a really interesting book about the difference between what AI and computers can do and where the limits are in terms of the intuitive leap. Our brains are still so much greater than any capacity of any computer to do distinctly human things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be worried about it, wouldn't be on the top of my list of things to worry about in our world today, nor would I think that you would adjust your educating your kids very much, even if it became a case where I could say to my computer, please write my blog post on, and then boom, have it done and I don't have to mess with it. In fact, I think we've all had that experience of technology. It takes almost more effort to fix the thing than it
When
would
you
have
use
been
Siri,
to just
Siri text.
yeah.
There is actually a website, I can't remember the name of it, but being in the marketing world, I know about it. And it does use AI technology to generate copy for like Instagram post captions and emails. So that's the furthest in terms of advanced technology, but I've seen some of the work that comes out of it, and it's like you said, you still have to put your voice in, you still have to edit it, and that's like the top of the line that exists right now. So I think it would be quite a while before there was something, and that's only for small sections of text, not an entire blog post.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
In our
If I
lifetime.
live long enough.
Okay, next question is from @KJV_06 asks, should kids do grammar from the elementary years all the way through high school? My child has a good grasp of grammar and I want to keep it fresh for him, but I don't want to continue to focus on more formal grammar lessons if that's not necessary. Thoughts?
Yeah, I generally tend to agree with that sentiment. I tend to look at grammar as an art rather than, say, something more concrete and academic like math. So you could say, how much math should you do? And then you could say, okay, you know, we'll do up to algebra 2, and that's enough. Or we'll go all the way to calculus, and you keep going, or maybe you change your plan. Grammar is more kind of like learning to draw or do a musical instrument. You could keep learning your whole life that thing, but is that really of extraordinary value to you? So, you know, you kind of think, okay, I have a good facility, I know enough to do what I need to do. So I would tend to agree with, is it KJV 06? That if you have a good grasp, you could probably just say, hey, you know, let's just go through life, and if a grammar question comes up, there's any number of resources you can go to figure out, okay, is that right or wrong? Why is it that way? You know, is there something that could be done differently? We have to be careful with grammar not to fall into the trap of there's only one way to do this. Because our language is constantly changing. And if you took Shakespeare and ran it through a grammar checker today, the whole thing would be green underlined. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, it just means that it's different. And in this case, older. So I just was having a conversation with Julie on the podcast we were recording this morning about the word funnest.
Is it in the dictionary?
It is, yes.
Wow.
And so, all these, moms and grandmas are like, never say funnest. Well, okay. Can I get over that and allow myself to say funnest? Which I did. I'm still having a real trouble with me and my friend are gonna go blah blah blah, because that one just really kind of grates on me
remember
personally.
you always correcting any of us kids when we said me and
Yeah.
blank blank. You would say no, it's blank and I.
But then the flip side is, he gave it to, right? You wouldn't want to say he did it for Ellie and I, because you would never say he did it for I.
Right.
He did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, you would have to say he
It's
did
very
it for
confusing.
Ellie
I
and
still
me.
don't. I will type things out and then I'll sit there and I'm like, I'm questioning if this is the right way to say this. So I think even if it's ingrained in you in childhood, in adulthood, you still question
Yeah.
yourself.
I mean, if you really want a deep level understanding of grammar, the best thing to do, and maybe this questioner has done it, or maybe they're thinking about doing it, or maybe we can encourage, and that is study a foreign language seriously.
That's true.
If you study French or Latin or German or Spanish or even Chinese or Japanese, you learn more about the structure of language and the grammar and the idea of grammar than you would by trying to learn English grammar from an English book. So.
I agree with that. Okay, next question is from At the Places We Learn. Asks, when are you coming to Indiana again? We love taking your live class.
Oh, Indiana. I don't have anything in Indiana on my schedule. And honestly, I have shifted. This started with the shutdown of everything in the COVID year 2020. And I pretty much just canceled doing live student classes in other cities.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to not be the best use of my time right now, especially since we had such good success with video classes and online events. So I'm not really scheduling any student classes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that that's going to change.
There is one thing I can think of. If you're part of your homeschool organization, some of the homeschool organizations who are affiliated with us, we actually offer a live Andrew Pudewa. It's of course virtual, but we do offer a live Andrew Pudewa class for students. It's one time a year, so if you're part of your homeschool organization, I would reach out to them directly to see if that's something that they're affiliated with.
And one of the great things about the new SSS, and this is true to some degree with the old video courses, but the new ones I think are even better. It really does give the kids a way to feel like they're in the room.
Yeah, it does.
In fact, it was funny because in one of my courses there was this little girl named Addison, and I really liked her. She was just participating, very creative, always had some... So anyway, I was at a convention last weekend, and a little girl comes up to me and she goes, well, my name is Addison, and I watch your videos, and there's another Addison in your videos. I was like, every time you said Addison, I felt like you were talking to me, only she got to answer the questions. So I think and I would never do a class with just a camera.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes I have to do that imagining the live audience, but in terms of recording classes, having the real kids in the room, it makes all the difference. So I am sorry, who is it? The Places We Learn. I don't think, if I came to Indiana, it would probably be for a convention, and I probably wouldn't be doing any more live student classes. But you never know. I may get desperate and need to make a few extra bucks here or there.
All right, next question is from I don't know how to pronounce this, Philip Pakismus. Asks, what should we do when a child's inclusion of the dress-ups, etc., is clunky or doesn't flow well? I love the structured approach of IW, but are students able to transition to a less formulaic style as they go into different writing contexts in further studies or elsewhere in life?
Yeah, the answer is absolutely yes. I've seen this again and again. I've been at this 25 years, so I'm watching kids grow up over time.
Mm-hmm.
and meeting parents that had their kids in classes literally 20 years ago. And that's exactly what happens is they grow up and they gain the skills from kind of, wrenching in, if they have to, the dress-ups or openers. Very often this question, I don't know how old her students are, but I get this question from parents whose kids are in this zone of being 11, 12, 13 years old. That's the most common. And their basic concern is this writing is so awkward, as if it were the checklist caused the awkwardness. My usual question is, how old's your kid? Oh, 12 and a half. Well, think about 12 and a half year olds. They're pretty much awkward in every way. They look awkward, they talk awkwardly, they walk awkwardly, they feel awkward. They feel awkward about feeling awkward. So why wouldn't it be normal for their writing to also be a little bit awkward? So, but then you see they grow out of it. 14, 15, certainly most kids by 16 are pretty much grown up, and so their sense of how things should go, that's what regulates the way that they use the techniques they've learned. But, they learn the techniques, and so they got it in the back of their brain, and, they're not going to use a checklist on everything they write forever.
I think when I was in that age range, I remember complaining to you about not wanting to use the checklist because I didn't like the way that it made my writing sound, because I felt like it was very forced. But of course now that I use those techniques in my adult life, I don't feel that way. So I definitely, firsthand experience here, remember that feeling of it sounds so awkward, but the truth is you're just learning the skills, that way you can apply them later, and it's okay if it's awkward.
Yeah, another way to look at it too is you're developing that set of skills and there's a new technique. And I might make a comparison to playing a musical instrument. I remember, for example, when I was young, I could play in first position very easily on the violin, and then my teacher made me play something in third position, where your hand is in a completely different spot, and it's totally different. And I thought, I could play this better if I just did it in first position. Why do I have to use third position? Well, that's not so I could play that thing better at that time. It's so that I could gain the skill of using third position so that when it became appropriate or necessary, I had the facility.
That's a great
So
point.
it's kind of the skills development. But I would say just don't worry about awkwardness. And at some point, they'll leave your control, graduate, go somewhere else, do something else, and they will then choose to use or not use the techniques. But at least they'll have a bigger selection of techniques to choose from.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to look here just a little bit, look through here to see. I know we got some questions.
Yeah, I saw a very good one about teaching structure and style in a foreign language.
Okay, let's see if we can... Right. At Lorena.Miranda-Cutlick asks, for those of us who are not teaching IW syllabus in English, do you think it is safe to think of new dress-ups, ones that make sense in the language we are teaching?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we are starting to expand internationally a lot. Classical Conversations is a group that's getting huge international traction. So things are getting translated into Spanish and Portuguese and Chinese and I don't know what, German, I think. And so there's people saying, okay, our language is a little different, and that dress up doesn't really make sense. It's really not natural. We don't talk like that. One example, I think, is the who which clause in Spanish. It just doesn't seem to be something that is used in the same way that we do in English. And I don't speak or read Spanish, so I don't know. So yes, the answer is please do adjust the stylistic techniques checklist to fit your language. And if you need to get rid of something, no problem. And if you can think of something to add in, even better. So yeah, the checklist should be customized for the level and experience of the student as well as for the language in which you're writing.
Absolutely. Okay, let's look here a little bit more. I actually think that was the only question we got.
That other one was a comment.
Yes, these are just comments.
Okay.
Of course, people saying thank you.
Yep. All right.
Which we appreciate. Oh, I see something here. Oh, we already answered those questions. Okay, well, this was a short one this time.
Well, okay.
And we will be back next month.
All right.
Another
Well,
one.
a couple links you could put in.
Yeah.
One is my talk called The 4 Deadly Errors of Teaching Writing.
Okay.
I addressed that whole question of awkwardness and developmental stages
Okay.
in better detail. So that might be interesting for people if they haven't heard it. And I hit convention season. I was in South Carolina last week. I'm going to be in St. Louis, St. Charles, St. Louis area tomorrow. I'm driving over. I'm going to be in Wisconsin. I'm going to be in Florida, Virginia, Texas, Southern California, of course, the big one in Cincinnati.
Yes.
So,
and all of that is located at iew.com/events, and then you can click on the side Andrew's engagements, and that will tell you where he'll actually be.
Yeah.
We got another question.
Oh.
Suggestion for high school after having taken B and B continuation. I believe this is probably
the older videos. Yeah, I would say best thing to do is chat our customer service, and they can find out
iew.com/chat.
How old is the student, and how fresh is that in memory, and he loved it so much. So probably jumping into the 1C would
Or
be the
even
best way, or the 2B,
depending on
the
the
age of the student. And of course, we've got some other courses, high school level courses that are in process, in the works. Can't really say too much about that, but we will work hard and pray that we can get these out soon in the next couple of years before your kids grow up and leave. So.
All right.
All right.
Well, anything else any other links you'd like me to put there?
I don't know. I think for now,
Okay.
that's good. The podcast, of course, people know about that.
Yes. Of course, Arts of Language podcast available anywhere that podcasts are available. She actually mentioned that her son is 16. So in that case, probably, depending on how fresh it is, probably the 2B or 1C.
1C.
And I would definitely contact our customer service team. That's a good idea.
They'll get you set up. And if you buy, if you do get something and you say, oh no, this is just too easy, it's totally reviewed, there's nothing new, you can always return it. We have
100% satisfaction guarantee.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here with us. You can catch us again next month. So if you have any questions for Andrew in the meantime, jot them down in your book or perhaps in your iPhone notes, and make sure you pull those out when we go live again. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.